Hey, Miss Hoffman, I'm Dr.
Hello.
Bundrick.
Nice to meet you.
All right. So, tell me, how old are you?
I'm 53.
Okay. And so you're here because you have trouble with your bladder, and when did that start?
About 5 years ago,
Okay.
I started having repeated UTI infections.
So like recurrent infections.
Mhm.
And you would get treated and they would get better.
Yes.
Okay. And then what happened? They quit getting better. Is that right?
Well, there was a time that my doctor my OBGYN put me on this antibiotic. And I can't pronounce it, it's nitroglycerin.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then
Did it help?
I don't remember because that was like at the beginning.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
so, but then I moved to another town, and the doctor just she took me. I guess she took me off of it. It was a long time ago.
Yes.
And then, I kept having the infections, and I kept having the infections.
Would anything help?
I mean, antibiotics help,
They would help.
but yeah, they would
So
help.
you would get better, you would stop the antibiotics, and then soon after it was coming back, right?
Yes.
Okay, so basically you were just having recurrent infections,
Yes.
which were really not recurrent infections, but persistent infections that were not getting completely eradicated, more than likely, right? You felt like that, didn't you?
Mhm.
Okay. Incompletely resolved infections. Okay.
And then eventually it got to the time when I went to the doctor and I had all the symptoms, and they did the strip test, and then they did the culture, and they said, that they're negative.
Yeah. So you still have these symptoms. They do the dipstick and it's negative, and then they do the culture and it's negative, and they tell you that you don't have an infection, right? Okay.
Then this one, they told me I had interstitial cystitis.
When was that?
Maybe about 3 years ago.
2 years ago.
3
You got
years.
3 years ago.
Mhm.
You got diagnosed with IC,
Yeah.
and
And-
they told you that you had that because you kept having these symptoms, but your cultures and your tests were all negative, right?
That's right.
Okay. So what happened after that?
Well, I would take, right now I'm taking 3 medicines. I'm taking flavoxate, amitriptyline, and I'm taking gabapentin.
Mhm.
I'm taking those gabapentin and flavoxate, I'm taking them 3 times a day.
Do you feel like those help you at all?
Not really, because, I keep having,
Yeah.
I keep having them. And so it got to a point where, I had all the symptoms. I would spend countless hours on the toilet, and
Never getting relief.
I would get up. I would spend countless hours on the toilet. The last episode, like I said, lasted 3 hours, and my legs would fall asleep. And
Mhm.
so I would get up and walk, so that my legs would wake up, but I couldn't. I had to sit back down. The only thing that I ended up doing when I had the flare-ups was taking like Tylenol PM or something
Uh-huh.
that would just knock me out,
Yeah.
and I would go to bed, and so and then I would wake up and I would be okay. I would think, when I had the symptoms, I didn't want to go to the doctor because you feel like a fool,
Uh-huh.
because you're saying I have all these symptoms.
Right.
And they would do the dipstick, and they'd be like, you don't have anything. And then, they would do the culture, and then you don't have anything.
So have you had any procedures done?
I did. When I went to the urologist, I went to a urogynecologist. He did a hydrodistension in December 2020.
Uh-huh.
And the symptoms, he put me on this medicine, methylene or something blue.
Uh-huh.
And I kept telling him, that was messing up my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
It was messing up my eyes because it was making them really dry. And
Uh-huh.
so he kept telling me that was not a one of the
It's not a side effect.
yeah.
Right.
But I kept telling him, and eventually we did another hydrodistation, and then that's when he changed me to the Flavoxate.
Uh-huh.
But
So how did the hydroextensions, how did you respond to those?
the first one, I responded well because he did it in December 2020,
Mm-hmm.
and then the symptoms, I was okay.
What symptoms got better?
I would say, I just felt okay. I never felt, I never felt the symptoms again
Until
October 2021.
okay. And what
Yeah.
happened in October 21?
Uh,
So you felt well for a year.
just about. And
You thought you were well. You didn't have any UTIs. You didn't have any symptoms. You didn't have anything.
well, I was taking medicine. I was taking.
So you feel like you were masking your symptoms with the
Yes.
medicine.
Yes.
I think you're probably right.
And then in October 2020, and see, you also get to the point where if something comes up and you start feeling badly, I would breathe,
Yeah.
I had to I suffer from depression.
Mm-hmm.
The doctor gave me.
Did you have depression before you got sick?
Yeah, I did.
So you've had it for a long time.
Yes.
Okay.
And so, but like the doctor gave me Xanax
Uh-huh.
so that I could, when I felt this coming on, you feel like, for one thing, it just takes over your life.
Yeah.
Because you're like the slightest twinge, the slightest, you get in a panic.
Yeah.
And so I would take, like a half a Xanax and.
Make you very anxious.
Yes, because you're terrified
Yeah.
that
It's
it's
coming
gonna
on.
blow up and
Yeah.
you're gonna end up in the toilet.
Mhm.
When you're at work or wherever you are.
Yep.
And so it just takes over. And
Mhm.
then I waited for one of the flare-ups. I waited because I knew they were going to say there's nothing wrong, and eventually I ended up going to the emergency room, and it had gotten so bad that they told me I had gotten the infection get so bad that it was all the way up to my kidneys.
Mm-hmm. When was that?
That was in October of 2021.
Okay.
Then I've been going to the urgent care
Mm-hmm.
and going to the urgent care or my doctor, and sometimes I would have it, sometimes I wouldn't have it.
You would have what?
The infection. Sometimes,
So they would see it sometimes and sometimes not.
That's right.
Okay.
But this last time, I went January the 1st of this year, and this last time, I was lucky because they said, well, because they didn't see it on the dipstick, but I was lucky because they said, well, because of your history, we're going to let you go. They gave me Augmentin.
Okay. When was that?
That was January 1st.
Oh, recently.
Yes, this was.
So you got
January 1st.
Augmentin recently, and,
Yes.
and how did you respond to that?
Well, see, this is the ridiculous thing is I got better. And then, but they
Like
they
immediately you felt better.
Yes.
Mhm.
And then they call and they say, well, your culture is negative, and stop taking it.
So you actually felt better. They tell you your culture's negative, but stop taking the medication.
Yes, and
So how long did you take it?
I took it. I remember because they gave me 20 pills, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna take 10. I finished 10, and then I stopped. And the reason I called my sister-in-law, and she's a nurse, and I said, should I really stop this? And she said, well, She said, Maria, the only thing is if you keep taking antibiotics and you don't need them, then eventually you're gonna be, you're not gonna respond to
Sure.
them. So, so I stopped. Well, I stopped, and that's when I had the 3-hour flare up.
So immediately you feel worse again.
Yes.
Okay.
And so then I finished them, and I felt better. And then
You ran out.
Yeah.
Okay. And when you ran out, did you feel worse again?
When I run out of the antibiotic, I don't immediately feel worse,
Yeah.
but I have like, it's like you live in panic mode.
Yeah.
The slightest twinge,
Mm-hmm.
the slightest anything, I have to sit and breathe, and like I said, I take half a Xanax, and sometimes I have to take gabapentin, that fluvoxate, and the mitriptyline. Sometimes, since I have to take that fluvoxate and the gabapentin 3 times a day, I would like not wait, and like I would,
Yeah.
you do it morning,
Yeah.
lunch, and dinner, and so then if I felt something coming on, then I would take 2 fluvoxate and I would take 2 gabapentins, and so so that has been.
All right. So let's talk about your symptoms now. Are you having pain today?
No, well, I drank a bottle of water, a bottle and a half, but then of course, I get here and I can only give a very small urine sample.
Uh-huh.
So then I took 4 of the there's a water tank outside
Yeah.
of the bathroom. So I drank 4 glasses, 4 cups. And then, so right now, I feel like I need to go to the restroom, so that's pressing.
So you
on.
notice pressure in the
Mhm,
lower abdomen.
mhm.
Do you have pain in the urethra?
When I don't live in constant pain,
Mm-hmm.
but when it flares up,
Yeah.
it's, yeah.
Do you notice the pressure pretty much all the time?
I feel twinges.
Yeah.
I feel, yes.
So you're not having pain in the urethra today?
No.
Okay. And is there burning when you urinate?
Yes.
Okay. Have you noticed any blood in your urine?
No.
Do you feel like you have frequent urination?
Yes.
Do you feel like you have urgent urination? Like when you gotta go, you gotta go.
Well, it depends.
Sometimes yes, sometimes
yes,
no.
yes.
Yeah. And are you waking up at night to urinate?
No.
So you
I
sleep
don't.
all night, but you take medication that helps you sleep, right?
Yes.
Okay. And when you go urinate, does it come out free or does it seem slow?
It seems slow.
Mm-hmm. And do you feel empty when you're done?
No.
Mm-hmm. And do you ever have such urge to urinate that you leak?
No.
Okay. And do you have pain with intercourse? Pain? And how long have you had pain with intercourse?
Probably about 3 years.
3 years. So it's a miserable experience, right? Okay. And your symptoms worse after intercourse? And how long are they worse? Days or weeks?
No, I go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I take my medicine to go to sleep, and when I'm in the morning, it feels better.
Okay. Did you notice that when you took the Augmentin, have you had intercourse since you took the Augmentin?
Mm-hmm.
Did it hurt as bad?
No.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, Maria, this is a chronic bacterial cystitis. You've had it for years now, and it's going to take years to get it eradicated. But you can obviously, you can be improved, just with antibiotics. So my suggestion is going to be, we'll send off your urine for a culture today. We'll actually do a test, a DNA test, looking for bacterial DNA in your urine, and also a kind of a sophisticated culture with that. But Augmentin is really my favorite medicine for your problem anyhow, and that's probably what we should start with. But we may be adding or at some point or changing at some point. But I'll bet you anything that it'll help you. But you're looking at a minimum of a year, and average is about 18 months. Have you had trouble with yeast infections when you've had antibiotics in the past?
I think one time.
It's not a big problem though.
No.
Okay, very good. All right. Do you have any questions for me?
I went to so many doctors.
Yeah.
And they have told me that nothing is wrong.
Yeah, I know. I was that doctor at one time, okay? I told people that for about 5 years when I went into practice, and then it, kind of hit me that all these patients were, infected. It was our test that was, the test was defective. The test, we've relied upon a test that is unreliable. And that's created an entire spectrum of disease, from recurrent infections to overactive bladder to painful bladder to interstitial cystitis. All those conditions are an unrecognized infection. And your bladder is not very smart. Okay, your bladder only knows to do two things. It knows to hurt and it knows to go. And if it's irritated, it's going to do one or both. So that's where you are. So we'll get you going on the Augmentin. Hopefully you're able to tolerate it really well, and within the next few weeks and months, hopefully you'll have a really good response, and you'll notice that your frequency and urgency improves, and your pain and your pressure improves, and your pain with intercourse improves, such that it's not a miserable experience but a pleasurable experience. So that's our goal, is to bring your quality of life back to where you knew it. Okay?
I know so. So it's going to get better.
It should get better. Yeah, this is infection. Promise. Okay? You already know that. I mean, you took the Augmentin.
I know, but it's just.
Well, you've had it beat into your head that there's, it's not an infection, but it really is an infection.
And when I was coming, like I said, we drove 11 and a half hours to get here. And I was terrified. I said, oh my God, if he tells me that I don't have anything, I told my husband, I said, I'm gonna be devastated. He said, if he says that I don't have anything.
Yeah.
It because you're so afraid. You have gone to so many places.
You've been conditioned to think that there's, nothing wrong. And you're miserable, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'll get you better, I promise.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, cool.